Chapter 24. I went from thence to another place, and saw a mountain of fire flashing both day and night. I proceeded towards it, and perceived 7 splendid mountains, which were all different from each other. Their stones were brilliant and beautiful. All were brilliant and splendid to behold, and beautiful was their surface. 3 mountains were towards the east, and strengthened by being placed upon one another, and 3 were towards the south, strengthened in a similar manner. There were likewise deep valleys, which did not approach each other, and the 7th mountain was in the midst of them. In length they all resembled the seat of a throne, and odoriferous trees surrounded them. Among these there was a tree of an unceasing smell, nor of those which were in Eden was there one of all the fragrant trees which smelt like this. Its leaf, its flower, and its bark never withered, and its fruit was beautiful. Its fruit resembled the cluster of the palm. I exclaimed, "Behold, this tree is goodly in aspect, pleasing in its leaf, and the sight of its fruit is delightful to the eye." Then Michael, one of the holy and glorious angels who were with me, and one who presided over them, answered and said, "Enoch, why dost thou inquire respecting the odor of this tree? Why art thou inquisitive to know it?" Then I, Enoch, replied to him and said, "Concerning everything I am desirous of instruction, but particularly concerning this tree." He answered me, saying, "That mountain which thou beholdest, the extent of whose head resembles the seat of the Lord, will be the seat on which shall sit the holy and great Lord of glory, the everlasting King, when he shall come and descend to visit the earth with goodness. And that tree of an agreeable smell, not one of carnal odor, there shall be no power to touch, until the period of the great judgment, when all shall be punished and consumed forever. This shall be bestowed on the righteous and humble. The fruit of this tree shall be given to the elect. For towards the north life shall be planted in the holy place, towards the habitation of the everlasting King. Then shall they greatly rejoice and exult in the Holy One. The sweet odor shall enter into their bones, and they shall live a long life on the earth, as thy forefathers have lived. Neither in their days shall sorrow, distress, trouble, and punishment afflict them. And I bless the Lord of glory, the everlasting King, because he has prepared this tree for the saints, formed it, and declared that he would give it to them." Chapter 25. From thence I proceeded to the middle of the earth.
Many say that the Book of Enoch represents the true archetypal stories of end times. Some may go as far as saying that Revelations is a constructed end time story that still works with Enoch because it's very much the same. It just has different things in it that paint a different picture, a little more of a doom picture. They've used these plants, but especially this plant, because you can tell by that what was said in the Book of Enoch that I don't know what else other plant it could be that he's talking about. And not only that, he talks about it healing us to the bones. Well, there's all these studies coming out about how it is protecting in its acid form, which is non-decarboxylated form, which we're going to start providing people because of this new evidence. It blocks the spike protein from attacking the body. So maybe this is exactly what they're talking about, heal us to our bones, right? But not only that, there's been endless research into the mixing of this one, which is 20-1 CBD that everyone can use, and this one here, or the plant that has both in it, as a 1-to-1, working amazing for cancer and other autoimmune diseases such as multiple sclerosis, which to me, multiple sclerosis could actually just be a reaction to some kind of parasite or infection rather than it actually being an autoimmune. And people don't understand autoimmune, so this is why I believe that cannabis is what can help people with all of these novel sicknesses. You can smudge with cannabis. You can, which means you can use it without any psychoactive effect. You can use CBD orally, and have no psychoactive effect, and smoke it and have no psychoactive effect. You can just smudge with cannabis, just like an incense, and that's what is we're going to be promoting people to do, and that's what is going to be available through our Intuitive Health Center. Is we're going to teach people how to make their own incense from plants. And so, this, I'm talking about the archetypal story, and that was the one I just said to you, or just let you hear through the Book of Enoch. I'm gonna play a whole song or at least a part of a song here for you. It's Eke and he is talking about this archetypal story happening way back in time and in India. And he talks about how the white collar criminals are that they squash the herb because it is the healing and it's the awakening, because it is psychologically a psychedelic that helps people awaken their third eye. It is like maybe the apple in the Garden of Eden in the Gnostic version. And so there's always the cannabis plant seems to be surrounding this end time story, and it happened back in India. And he talks about taking the Kali out of India and the feminine emblem, which is the cannabis plant, and how they took away their culture and ganja, and then all of a sudden all this cancer came in, and this story happened here 90 years ago when they disallowed these plants, right? And especially this one. So here's White Collar Criminal by Eke Beka, or Midnight.
And I saw the spirits of the sons of men who...
Wrong video.
When it's your lucky and you're crowning, only from resistance you got to know me. The shackles of the lion made truly in the furrows of country, in the furrows of country. Yeah, hey, oh, white collar criminal, blue collar Krishna, all your decimation is division. You take Kali out of India, the feminine emblem. Send the best cultivator, still make you be a worker, giving up your culture for cancer. Living their life on the arrogant tip, put them on a jockey to the township. Living in a comfortable scavenger vibes, smart don't cast people being sick. Every day they must put on the clown face, so now they're accustomed to playing tricks. I'm not riding along on your quicksand pace, I don't feel at home in it. White collar criminal, blue collar Krishna, all your decimation inclination. You take Kali out of India, the feminine emblem. Send the best cultivator, still make you be a barracker, giving up your culture for cancer. Well, I don't think you know about none of the two Ethiopia. Run for the King James your version. What's the first verse in Esther? Try never to witness a people disappear, transaction in action. Yeah, heal when the boardroom hit order come down. Silence is the usual chain reaction. All them searching for them bigger power over accusation, rejection, racial. Every corporate couple and foot in retreat. Who is the next sacrificial? White collar criminal, blue collar Krishna, and the decimation is the nation. You take Kali out of India, the feminine emblem. Send I the best cultivator, still make you be a barracker, giving up your culture for cancer, giving up your culture for cancer. Yeah, from the whipping in the temple knees, representing everlasting life. From the dripping in our blood, sweat, fees, ganja hustle free our soul tonight. Hey, and who that rebuke my ease is a judgment sacrifice. Hey, hey, karma protection reduce, that give the right one more boots. White collar criminal, hey, blue collar Krishna, and the decimation is creation. You take a leap of the India, yeah, the feminine anthem. Send like the best cultivator, still make you be a barber. You giving up your culture for cancer. Here, I don't think you know about none of the two Ethiopia. Why run the King James version?
So white collar criminal. You know, there's a story about a guy in the States who had 2 sticks of incense, just like this. And he, I think he got 7 years, or maybe it was 10 years. Anyways, it's quite ridiculous, right? And then I look at that situation, and that was within, I think, probably within the last 20 or 30 years. And that just blows my mind that you can pathologize a plant in this way. And another situation is that, like, there's people that are involved with things that are much, 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 much worse. And even if they get caught, they just pay a fine or lose, like, something, and there's no loss of their freedom, right? Well, this is the white collar criminals, and that's why I believe maybe the only way for us to come to any kind of peace with this is that we need to start judging who are the white collar criminals in our own community. And so I have been doing so, and there is certain people that I have acknowledged in my videos as being the white collar criminals in my area. And I believe they're tied to dark shit that they're not conscious of. And I'm talking about stuff that is doing stuff, dark stuff to other people. And I'm thinking of the darkest of stuff, right? When you're dealing with organized crime, even if they pretend they're not doing dark stuff, there's dark members that are lying to the organization and doing dark things, and you are supporting that, you know, with your, you know, growing your ginormous crops. And when I look at the most corrupt people becoming legal in the cannabis industry, here is the perfect example of white collar criminal. And if you want to tell me, so I'm talking to Sweetgrass and anybody that works there that would like to have a long form podcast with me and tell me why you are not a white collar criminal, because I'm open to the fact that I'm wrong, then we can go from there. So this is what transparency is. And if you don't come and have a long form podcast with me, I'm going to have to assume what I already know. And I would expect other people to start to assume what I'm saying is true. So I'm inviting you to stand up for yourself if you feel that I'm being unfair in my judgments. And that goes for any of the morality, philosophy, theology, any of the things that I'm going off about that you don't agree with. Message me at melatonic, melatonic society@gmail.com or melatonic@protonmail.com. Whatever you feel is better for you, because Proton Mail, some people feel that it is safer because it's double encrypted. Well, I don't really buy any of that. I believe that if you're sending a message, it can be taken. If somebody has the ability, there's places in the middle that they can still grab it. So, you know, just that's why I believe people should just be transparent and not be having to hide their truths. Because if you're hiding your truths, then you're likely hiding stuff that's not true, because you're probably doing stuff that is probably bad for us. So remember that, like, when people, these thugs, right, and these, I'm talking about these like cartelist white collar criminals, they're so cocky with their execution of their criminal activity that they don't believe that they're ever going to be caught, right? However, with their little cell phones, their internet, everything that has been done is kept. And it may not all be looked at by people, but if an investigation is opened, then they will take all those zipped down files that are under your name up in the cloud, and they'll find out what you're involved with. And this is what we call the digital all-seeing eye, right? But there is also God, and he is the all-seeing eye, and he also is connected to karma. So, remember, you're being watched, so you keep on lying and you keep on hiding who you really are, the judgment is coming. I'm gonna say there's one other character in my neighborhood that is involved with such dark things that I don't even want to say his name. He knows who I'm talking about if he sees this video, and many people that have heard me talk knows who I'm talking about. He lives very close to me, and he's involved with some dark stuff that is involved with things that like I said, I don't want to say, because there's a feeling I have that he has been threatened into the position he is in. So you know who you are. I would like to talk to you in private. So without anything going, no recordings, and I want to know how we can sort out this problem together. If you do not come up to me, I'm going to give you a certain amount of time. I'm not even going to tell you how much time, but if I don't hear from you in that much time, your name will be added and it'll be out there, and I'm going to have to let people judge the situation for what it is. So Shambhala, I've said to them, and they're a part of stuff that's super, super dark, but to be honest, I believe they need to fall. That is a ship that needs to sink, and if anybody wants to, and I took on their lawyer, and he's a pissant to me, right? So I suggest I took on their sociopathic vice president, Neil, and Judah's their lawyer, Judah Harrison and Neil McLeod. And you know what? I took them both on. They couldn't. So I challenge any of you from Shambhala to come into a podcast with me and tell me why you are not a tyrant to our town. And that goes for your virtue signaling bullshit ass co-op. Okay? I know some things you do are good, but let's do a mathematical equation, okay? Together. If you got the cojones to even talk with me in a long form conversation, and I would suggest I'll never hear from you. Well, let's see who is a real lion or if they're just a bunch of hyenas following a sociopathic scar. Well, I suggest it's the latter rather than the former. Much love. Let the great judgment continue.